Hey, everybody, welcome to part four of Let's Talk Mental Health. This is actually the last session that we're going to be doing in a small group format, as next week is just our panel with our experts answering some of the questions that have come about throughout the series. But out of all the topics we've covered in this series, this one feels the most out of my league. Um, it's probably the one that I've dealt with the least personally, so I don't have a lot of personal experience to bring to the table, but I do have a few pastoral situations where I've run into it. One of the very first funerals I ever did as lead pastor was actually a suicide of a 30-year-old dad and husband. Just a tragic thing. His wife and son were visiting family over Christmas, and he had to stay home and work while the family was away. And while they were away over Christmas, he ended his life, and I had no idea. Had no idea he dealt with such heavy depression until I sat down with his wife to talk through the funeral, and I remember thinking, like, he was the most helpful, one of the most giving guys I'd ever known. He actually worked as a nurse at St. Francis, and I'd run into him a couple times when I was making hospital visits, and I was just blown away with his bedside manner. Like, I would have never known that he dealt with it. And I sat there listening to his wife talk about how he was so good helping others, but he couldn't get over the weight of depression in his own life. And I don't tell that story to be overly dramatic or to say everybody who has depression is suicidal. It's just to say that I wish I would have known, right? Like, I just wish I would have known. And I'm not saying I could have cured him or even that I would have known what to do, but I wish he would have felt more comfortable talking about it and finding help, finding community, finding treatment. I wish there were more people like the author of Psalm 42 who were honest about themselves, honest about how they felt about God, to the point where they could say, I'm really struggling. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like there's just something battling in my soul, and I know it's happening inside of me, but I don't feel like I have any control over it. And even in the midst of all that, I'm still going to depend on God. Like he speaks to his soul. He reminds himself, like you can read it. Put your hope in God, for I will yet praise Him. He has all these questions. Talks about how his soul is downcast, but then he speaks to his soul. Put your hope in God. It's like he's saying, I'm a mess right now. I'm not sure how or when I'm going to get over this, but even though that all that's true, I'm going to put my trust in you. And that's where I think there are a lot of people. They're there. It's not a place, again, that I've lived, but I've visited that emotional neighborhood from time to time. And it's one of the main reasons we've done this series. We want to bring this stuff out into the open, to talk about it, discuss it, create the kind of environment where people feel open enough and safe enough to be honest about their mental health, and then take the next steps, to not stay there, but to actually take some steps to find hope, to find healing, to find counseling or treatment, even in the midst of it. So, to wrap this up, I hope the series has been helpful for you. I hope if it's not been helpful for you, hopefully it's been helpful for somebody that you love that deals with mental health issues. I hope you feel a little bit more equipped, maybe even a little more confident with some of the things we've talked about, some of the tools that we've made available. If you ever find yourself in that place, or help someone in that place. So the series is going to be on our website. It'll be on our podcast for a long time. If you ever want to come back and revisit it, or if you want to send the messages to people who you might think that they'll find it helpful, that'll be an option down the road. But I just want to say thanks for participating in this, specifically in this group time. for the past 4 weeks, and enjoy your last discussion.